Welcome to the panel discussion on renewable energy, energy efficiency, and the green chemistry. I think it's not a buzzword anymore. This has been the action on ground seen across departments, and no more it's just a discussion of board meetings or the strategy meetings. 10 years back in Crisil, when we used to analyze corporate sector capex, most likely the understanding was that companies invest to expand. But today the interpretation of capex is not just expansion. It is for process efficiency improvement, it is for technology upgradation, it is also for renewable power plant capacity expansion. And for these details and nuances around the transformation and transition, we have a strong panel with us today, having diverse revenue profile, diverse market, diverse product profiling, and the initiatives that all of them have taken, starting from renewable energy, energy efficiency, water treatment, effluent treatment plant, all of those. I think it's going to be an interactive and insightful discussion over the next 45 minutes or so. So let me start with the first question to all the members, starting from Mr. Parekh to the extreme left. Sir, we are seeing that industrial and commercial consumers across the board, and especially the chemical ones, are seeing a quick transition towards renewable power. What is your view and your company's experience on two fronts? One, cost saving, and second, how reliable is solar and wind in current context?
Hello. So good morning. So in specifically comparing to this renewable energy versus the fossil fuel, right? The renewable energy is having a lots of cost saving, mostly in terms of, if you say, there is a low operation and maintenance cost. Okay, the fuel cost, maintenance cost, and operation cost are very low compared to the fossil fuel cost which we are operating the plants. Like we'll say solar power, hydropower, or then basically all this renewable energy source. Second one is like market fluctuation with fossil fuel price. There is no market fluctuation. Okay, fossil fuel price, like you know, there is a war is going on, like Ukraine. Like the present situation is very tense, and all fossil fuels are really market driven. Whereas this renewable energy source is not a market driven source. So in terms of cost, definitely the renewable energy is having a lots of cost saving initiatives, and we can do. In terms of say reliability part, initially there was a difficulties in like storage. Okay, now with increasing the energy storage facilities like batteries. Okay, this we have developed recently, and the reliability part has improved a lot in terms of this solar and wind and hydro energies. Important another thing is in terms of like grid integration, like where and power, like when there is a up and down, when we are using a fossil fuel, where the power ups and downs are rapid, and that is very difficult to manage with the grids. Whereas solar energy or either wind energy or renewable energy, we have a consistency in we can connect with the grids. So these are the major benefits in terms of reliability. Of course, there is a challenge because these all renewable energies are intermittent in this nature. So that is definitely there is a less part. As such, in like I'm in Aarti Industries Limited, what we said is in the last financial year, we have almost invested, we have gone for a renewable energy of around 13 megawatt. And that has also reduced the carbon emission of 1 lakh ton per year. That is a major advantage with the renewable energy. And our purchase power price has reduced to a 30% across our group. Like we have consumed this 13 megawatt hour plant across our groups of Aarti Industries, and we have reduced our purchase power cost to 30% less. And with this, what we have seen in 23-24, like we have given approval of, we have taken approval from the boards. We are installing now 25 megawatt hour in 25-26 basically. So these are the major thing which I would like to say. It's a very good renewable energy in nutshell is a very good source, and many more companies are diverting to renewable energies.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Parekh. Mr. Vaishnav, your view?
Good morning. The question is very much relevant, and as such, most of the details have been very nicely explained and shared by respected Mr. Parekh, sir. Basically, the driving force is climate change, and climate change is a real threat. Irrespective of any dignitary who has pulled out on international level from climate change COP program, that doesn't matter. Actually, this is the real threat entire community is facing, entire world is facing. So basically, the challenges with the renewable energy is that they don't emit CO2. Fine, that's true. Another challenge is we get it through the grid and variability, because wind power, you get different output based on the wind velocities during the season, and solar we know, okay, during the season and daytime only we get the output. Plus manufacturing of the solar cell, wind, so all they also emit CO2, but it is like we can say in financial terminology what we call depreciation, or asset has been spanned over 15-20 years. So from operating point of view, they don't emit carbon emission. But still there may be some environmental challenges we are not aware of, because as we get conversant with the more and more use of green energy, so-called, we may come across some other challenges. But so far, that's there. If I say about GNFC something, we have a 21 megawatt wind installed capacity way back in 2007-8. 10 megawatt solar capacity for GNFC Bharuch unit in 2020, and 4 megawatt for Dahej commissioned in 2024. So basically, that is the installed capacity. What we get output is roughly around 18-20, maximum 25%. But that has cost bearing also, cost is reduced. But the fundamental challenge, see, one thing is we have to go for battery storage systems so that it can taper off the flips and flops of the energy available, and it can give you constant supply. But more than that is, it is coming through grid. So grid related issues are always there. So that is why companies have to go for captive power generation. And for captive power generation, wind farm or solar cell is not everybody's game, because you need a lot of land, you need a lot of wind. Solar, to some extent, it is available. One more thing, let me add you, we have our corporate office, GNFC, totally running on the solar energy. 300 kilowatt panels are there on the corporate office. So that is in nutshell. And once again, yes, it is cost beneficial, but then fixed investments are there. And entirely, it is basically, main limitation is grid related. So on another front of green energy, what we have to think of the bio. So suppose bio solid fuels are there, you have to mix in the boiler or you have to complete it. But there is, it is also, I would say it is in developmental stage. I think Godrej, if I am not wrong, at Valia, they are coming with a biofuel boiler. So this kind of things are there. But fundamental thing is we have to be very judicious, whatever the energy form. And at the same time, we have to have cooperative spirit. Like you see, Suzuki and Toyota. Japanese companies, they are very much having cooperative nature. So nation first. So that philosophy is there in the business also. So likewise, that is also very much important. We have fortunately very capable and visionary Prime Minister, and at the same time, terrific challenges are there. Ball is in our court, industry and we individual. Yes, one more important thing about, I think you said about some residential sector also. There is very important thing about residential sector. In fact, I don't know whether I should smile or I should cry. 3 days back, there was a windy gust. I have a 3.3 kilowatt solar panel. Out of 10, 6 panels got detached after 5 years. It damaged my house window, it damaged my neighbor's car's windscreen, and within a span of 15 minutes. So basically at micro level, what is required? Basically, the fitting, now they have changed the types of bolt, but things should be designed clearly for, say, 150 kilometer per hour of wind. That kind of, otherwise, who will go for these things? Fortunately, nobody was injured. That was simply grace of God. But this is the fact. Last year, some of our neighbors had this experience. They had their panels. So reason was, I think bolts were found not in proper way fitted. So these are the micro things. Implications are very severe. So at this level also we have to go for that is very important. I have written a mail to Ministry of Renewable Energy, respected Additional Secretary Sudeep Jainji, who had few months back, who was here at BDMA on the renewable energy. So see, basically, government takes its initiative, full credit, but down the line, businesses, industries, and even residential people, and even they have to be very, very careful, learning, and regular checking program on the rooftop has to be there, so that such damages doesn't take place. And I think that's all to the question. Can I conclude?
Sure, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Bose, your view?
Namaskar. Good that this question has come right in the morning today, and thanks to the organizers and Sehul to bring it up so nicely. If I am able to take you about 35 years back, people of my generation may definitely remember it. Of course, it will be a story to the new generation, but a very interesting one. So let me say that first before I go to the brass tacks. Earlier, when I started my career in Indian Oil Corporation as a sales engineer or so working in the field, so because of the oil crisis, there was a mandate given by the ministry to all the oil companies that during February 1st to 15th, एक तेल संरक्षण पखवाड़ा मनाया जाएगा across the country. Am I right? I'm sure people of my generation will remember it. उसमें हम सबकी ड्यूटी लगती थी कि भाई आप जाइए और you go to the agricultural fields, meet the kisan, meet the sarpanch, convince them to sell out their inefficient foot valves for the pumping sets, replace them with BIS marked pumping sets, all because of to save energy. And of course oil, because those days the pump sets used to run on LDO, light diesel oil, which was a refinery product or a petroleum product, to save that. Then we were also told to go to the industries and find out how your oil consumption can be reduced by either extending the life or by switching over to some higher performance oils. So in came the multi-grade engine oils and all that. Prior to that, it was only monograde. And during winters, it was a problem to start the vehicle because it used to, congeal and thick. It used to, we used to say कि crank करते रहो आप थोड़ी देर में चलेगा engine. And यही होता था because of the oil quality, not because of anything else. So people started with using multi-grade oils. Then came the solar cookers. So you can imagine that 35 years ago also, this seed of alternate energy other than petroleum did come. Of course, in between it lost its relevance because as India progressed, or for that matter, any country when it progresses, it needs a lot of energy. And petroleum for India was, even though it is not produced much in terms of crude oil or the raw material, but still our economy, our daily life was much more dependent on the petroleum fuels rather than any other conventional fuel, like even coal also. So gradually, of course, the Oil Conservation Week, though it is still celebrated in every month in February, but I think over the period of time it has lost its relevance, mainly because of the climate change, as you have very rightly said, sir, that the climate change actually came about 10 years from today, maybe around, maybe even less. I will 5 years. I will add to that after. Okay. So because of that, the emphasis now is on alternate energy sources or, reducing the energy consumption to that extent, things like that. So solar, tidal energy, even nuclear in those days when we started, we used to say that why not have nuclear energy wherever it is possible. Of course, in between, CNG also came, so that replaced a part of the petroleum liquid fuels. But ultimately, this also belongs to nature. It's a fossil fuel, basically, in the form of a gas rather than in the form of a liquid. So, things kept on like that. Today, we have landed into a situation where perhaps for India, solar is going to be the answer, and for obvious reasons. But yes, there are positives and negatives in each system. So is with solar system. It's good that Indian Solar Alliance is on the ground, and people know it now that yes, this is one organization which fortunately has been founded by India and conceived by India, and now accepted the world over. So here is the answer, perhaps, for some more time to depend on solar energy, and then maybe at the same time keep looking for some other sources like gobar gas. In our times, we used to call it gobar gas. Now the definition has been little modified or made it more modern or catchy by saying it is a biogas. Okay? So this is how the country has been progressing, and I'm sure these steps which were taken then and which are being taken now are quite quantitative in nature, and the effects perhaps would be seen in the next 5 to 10 years if we continue to do it like this, and of course even maybe try to increase their share as compared to any other energy source. So definitely the impact will be felt in the next few years. Our company is a very small company, but still we are using part of solar energy in our manufacturing plant. But it is definitely desired that the maintenance part of the solar energy system and the initial cost of installation also are perhaps a bit of deterrent for small companies. So if that area is well taken care of due to scale of operations, I'm sure it is going to benefit one and all. I think my story was pretty useful and interesting. Okay?
Thank you, sir. So I think that concludes the first part of my discussion, which is on renewable. A quick takeaway: one, around 30% of cost saving, like Mr. Parekh mentioned. Two, the adaptation is now quickly moving towards storage, not just solar storage, solar plus wind or solar plus storage plus wind. And like Mr. Bose mentioned, I think as adaptation becomes faster, the cost comes down and the adaptation pace increases. But like Mr. Vaishnav mentioned, I think it is important to also look at the quality and the localized expertise of the installation, the incidents that he mentioned. Let me go to the second point. If you consider the cost breakup of any chemical company, I'm sure all of you are aware of the major components. There are three parts. One is raw material, second is the energy and the power, and the third part is the other side, which is packaging, logistic, and others. These are the three key components, excluding the employee cost. We spoke about the power and energy. Let me move to the second component, which is on the raw material. So my question is to Mr. Parekh. One of the essential part to green transition is also to slowly or quickly, based on the nuance and the strategy of the company, to move towards bio feedstock. While it is desirable, it could be costly and complex. Keeping in mind competitive market and the goal and commitment towards energy, how do you see companies transiting towards not just renewable power, but also towards bio feedstocks?
So specifically related to bio feedstocks, are really a complex in nature. The first, in terms of availability, is less. That is, a very less availability is there. Also, there are alternatives are very less, and mainly the scalability part. If you do for a biofuels, it's very, very difficult because one is availability and another is the complexity in the production of biofuels over here. So that is also one of the critical tasks we have to do. The third important in biofuel is a cost part. Biofuel cost is slightly higher at initial stage, but it is when we are running it in a longer time, biofuel is more usable and it generates less emission over there. So it is in terms of emission part, like it's a greener chemistry part, it is very, very, very effective. Most important in biofeed is used of that biofuels. How to use, like say Mr. Darshak has told, like one of the company has converted the biofuel based boiler or the power generation specifically or steam generation. So it is very, very difficult to convert fossil fuel into a biofuel. But definitely this all can be resolved, right? If we have, what we can do is we can do a strategic partnership with farmers, with sub manufacturer, with suppliers. Then it is very, very possible we can do. And at Aarti we have done that. We got ISCC certificate, like International Sustainability Carbon Certificate for 2 of our sites, where that mainly it is given for recycle based chemistry and specifically for biofuel use. So that we have done it over here. Second, what we can do is related to biofuel is we can consider the lands. The availability of lands for biofuels is very, very, very biggest question. So we can take government's help and we can have a more biofuel generations over there. So we can improve on scalability, main scale upgradations, and specifically to this usage part. So that will help us in this kind of emission reduction, mainly in the emission reductions over here. So this is
Okay, so that's insightful. My next question is to Mr. Vaishnav. GNFC has 2 verticals, the fertilizer and the chemical. When you look at the energy transition between the 2, which according to you is easier than the other one, and how do you see the journey of both of them?
Hello. Yeah. Actually, GNFC has 2 verticals, fertilizers and chemicals. But at the same time, we have 2 manufacturing sites, one at Bharuch, our mother plant. Let me say 10th May, tomorrow is our GNFC's 48th birthday. And next unit is at Dahej. Commercial production we started in 2014. It is a purely petrochemical toluene diisocyanate TDI unit. Now basically coming to the question, transition to green energy, where it is easier. Actually, basically our GNFC Bharuch plant is a very complex, integrated complex. If I share you the background story, way back in 1978, when fertilizer, food crisis was there, then government decided to set up the urea manufacturing sites. So GNFC's birth is based on value addition. Fuel oil, which is a refinery bottom product, it was used as a heating oil. It is converted to urea. So value addition. So converting waste to best. So GNFC's birth cradle philosophy is that itself. So we came up with ammonia urea complex, single stream Texaco gasification unit. It's a very complex plant. We have air separation unit. Linde, 1887, who invented the air cycle, liquefaction of air. Then we have it's a complete ammonia plant. And then later on energy efficiency came into picture. So we came with, yes, we welcome Dalwadi sir to this august audience. Welcome sir. So basically, then parallelly from these streams we developed methanol, acetic acid, now ethyl acetate there. Also we have an aniline TDI complex. It's a so it is a very complex and nitrophosphate complex, of course. So as a unit we cannot differentiate, but yes, ammonia is urea is a subsidized product, government controlled. So now it is based on energy norms. So urea is under performance and trade PAT scheme. So their energy norms are specific to, they are being monitored and controlled by the BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and Government of India. So we came with ASGP plant, natural gas based reformer synthesis gas, which is have definitely lower energy. So significant reduction in energy has been achieved. And oil based ammonia production is used for the IP, nitrophosphate group and all these things. So that is, and TDI is a totally different vertical. Our raw materials are toluene. CNA is a captive product from GNFC. Our Bharuch plant, we have natural gas-based reformer. So there we have recently gone for the, as I said, 4 megawatt solar plant. So basically, we can tweak around this utility energy. Specifically, it is electricity. Now, where it is here. So right now, we all know National Hydrogen Mission, green hydrogen, but it is very much in developmental stage. So as a GNFC, we are always open to embrace that, subject to viability and yes, guidance and support from initially government. So I think, have I addressed the question properly?
Yes, sir. Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bose, my question is on the export side. Companies who are into domestic manufacturing, they've typically faced two dates. One is India's transition of net zero by 2070 and their own board and management's date of transition. But the ones who are into exports also face the third date, which is of the export nation. For example, in Europe, they also have their own transition date. And accordingly, the expectation from exporting country like India to those nations also go up in terms of adherence to sustaining or climate-related concerns. So how do you see those regulations on the international markets forcing or quickly transiting chemical companies in India towards green chemistry?
Very good question, Sehul. And I'm sure the Indian economy will definitely look forward to increase its export business. It is good as of now, definitely, but there is a lot of scope world over where India can play a very significant role by supplying various products, industrial products, even drugs and things like that also. So you're right that the type of regulation that exists today in Europe are definitely very strict, very stringent, and they're quite unique also, I would say, because particularly in Europe, the REACH regulation is something which is actually the driving or the governing factor. And to get that certification also is very tough and very costly too. But there are ways and means which are actually practiced, and there's nothing wrong in that. And manufacturers do take that advantage of a little liberalized sort of acceptance instead of the actual REACH guidelines, and do their exports. So in our case, of course, we are also exporting quite a number of products to European countries, primarily the textile specialities and some lubricants, which are otherwise based on mineral oils, but the advantages are that we are REACH compliant to that extent. So to that extent, we are managing the show. But we feel that perhaps the certification or the regulation will become actually more stricter and stricter in the coming days and coming years, for reasons which are known and well known in fact now. So for that we'll have to gear up with extra certifications or maybe extra cautious selection of raw materials, which is going to be cost incentive. So unless the final user is accepting the cost, no exporter, whether it is Witmans or XYZ or anybody, will be able to do that. So to do that, again, it's again a chicken and hen story. Egg and chicken story, that who bells the cat first? Yes, we want to increase our exports, but at what cost? So that it becomes at least usable and acceptable by the overseas customers. We can use any type of bio-based or energy efficient or certified product, carbon neutral product in our manufacturing process. But definitely it's going to cost more. And that cost has to be passed on, if not full, maybe part. So the customers have to be ready. Even today also, my company can manufacture fully bio-based, 100% biodegradable products. We have the technology. But at what cost? And in fact, there is no such order also coming from the overseas customers, where we can just start manufacturing and supply, even dedicatedly to a one customer only, forgetting about the scale part. But that is also not coming. So cost is one thing which is going to be very, very crucial when we think of substituting the conventional base stocks or the conventional uses of energy to produce something which is energy efficient, which is carbon neutral, which is whatever, and supply it to, and reach and compliant, and supply it to Europe. So this is one part of Europe which is primarily very well-known figure, but there are other countries also where sooner or later they perhaps may have their own reach type of certification or authorization. So far it is not as prominent as reach is. So that's why perhaps manufacturers who are exporting are finding it a little easier. But maybe sooner or later we may also have to think on those lines. At the same time, I would also like to mention that perhaps in India also, the imports which are coming from so many countries, because we are primarily an import-dependent nation, only because of the 80-85% imports of crude oils. The outgo on foreign exchange is much, much higher as compared to the inflow. So if that is the case, why not? We may also have some regulation or some certification or some sort of guarantee that what we use or what we consume is going to meet this and that. So, and now with the growing popularity and the presence of India in the world market, I'm sure others will also have to think twice before any contract or any supply order is signed with any Indian company. So this all things will keep on happening. But the fact is that, yes, the cost is going to be crucial for anything that we do towards carbon neutralization and net zero, whether it is exports or whether it is domestic consumption. So the scene is very clear as far as I am concerned and my company is concerned.
Absolutely, Mr. Bose. I think he made an interesting point of, and he made a statement that it's a non-negotiable transition cost. When you look at export market, typically we analyze trades with regards to two fronts. One, are you cost competitive? And second is, as a country, are we tariff competitive? I think by 2030, and some of you must be aware that by 2026 onwards, CBAM in Europe is already getting implemented. So the third aspect comes in, not just cost competitiveness, the trade competitiveness. The third aspect is emission competitiveness. And if you do not move towards emission transition, the cost, the indirect cost will be so high that the opportunity will be lost. So I think it's an interesting discussion. With that, let me move to the third part of the interaction, which is on the new energy and the opportunity and potential. Mr. Vaishnav, you spoke about green hydrogen. Everybody in the audience is aware about hydrogen. In India, we use it in the grey form, but there is a question with regards to the commercial viability of green hydrogen. You run a project of green hydrogen in your company. What's your initial observation? Obviously, we do not expect you to share any confidential numbers, but what's your journey or what are the milestones you want to share about?
Hello. Actually, as I said, we have hydrogen used in our ammonia synthesis mainly. So basically green hydrogen and even green ammonia. Ammonia also can be used as fuel. But basically, frankly speaking, yesterday itself I talked with my business strategy development colleague. So we were considering to go for a small 5 megawatt electrolyzer or something like that, very much on the initial base. But still, I think long way to go, because we have very big Indian conglomerates like Larsen and Toubro, Reliance. They are going for the green hydrogen on a very big scale. So basically, green hydrogen, we all know what is ultimately green hydrogen. The solar wind-based power electrolysis, we get hydrogen from the. So suppose in my product synergy, if I look at, I have TDI, we have reformer-based hydrogen. So suppose if I go for a green hydrogen, then where to get green CO, carbon monoxide? That's a challenge. Right now, I tried to search on internet, but was not of much of help, basically. So basically, you want to replace natural gas. It's a completely grey fuel, sort of that carbon and hydrogen. So with this, it is possible, but then should have CO, green CO as well. So challenges are definitely high. And I think we are still very much in a learning phase, very honestly, very sincerely speaking. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I think government has put a target also of 5 million ton by 2030, and there are many pilot projects in India which are going on. Thank you. My next question is to Mr. Parekh and Mr. Bose, both of you. So far we spoke about cost aspect on the chemical industry, but at the same time as India moves towards new and emerging sectors, we see focus towards battery manufacturing, electrolyzer manufacturing, and that too from a domestic focus and reduced import dependency side. How do you see this giving opportunity for chemical businesses?
So I see there is a lots of new opportunities are arising because of this renewable energy. Like one is say energy storage, like battery. So we say battery, there are lots of chemical required, electrolyte solutions are required. Okay, and nowadays what in terms of battery manufacturing, AI and MI, like artificial intelligence and mechanical intelligence are used for creating a creative batteries. So that potential is very high in terms of the new opportunities, like chemical manufacturing can go into this such kind of new chemicals, and there is a lots of growth potential or diversification is possible in such kind of things. Same way, if you say electrolyzer, like Mr. Vaishnav has told, related to the green hydrogen, we need electrolyzer of different. There is a different kind of electrolyzer is required where different electrodes are there, different chemicals are required for manufacturing of that. So I see it's in a chemical specifically, there is a big opportunities are there to go into this new era of manufacturing different chemicals, either going from commodity to a new innovative technologies, and R&D can work. So like we at Aarti also are working to manufacturing, and we are interested to go for this kind of chemical, like that can be used for either battery or either it can be used for electrolyzers. So these are there. There is a big thing.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Mr. Bose, your view?
As far as Witmans Industries is concerned, we are into manufacturing of textile specialties, lubricants, plasticizers. We have another vertical which is manufacturing paints, varnishes for industrial uses. So, and our R&D center, in-house R&D center is very well equipped with very qualified people and almost all the equipment which is required for manufacturing biodegradable products, which basically are nothing but starting from the bio-based raw materials. So, in our case, we are manufacturing already some synthetic esters, which is basically a synthetic base oil for the lubricant industry. The use of synthetic base oil by the oil companies like IOC, HPC, BPC, and even private oil companies like Reliance or HP Mittal or Bharat Petroleum's refineries is very minuscule as of now. Again, because of cost. Because the OEMs particularly won't accept. They are also competing within themselves that Ashok Leyland's engine oil should be with each and every bus or truck manufactured by Ashok Leyland. Telco says no, in my motors and my vehicles, only my genuine oil should be used. And this much should be the cost. So it's very difficult. So still, because the oil companies are in government sector, so they have their own motto and objective of switching over to green products and reducing the footprint. So, so far for Witmans Industries, we have been able to supply few specific esters for manufacturing of lubricating oils by these companies. Along with that, we are also into plasticizers, which is nothing but basically it is a mixing agent for plastics industry. So there, the plasticizer is basically an oil, synthetic oil. There we have tried to formulate a synthetic base, which is actually an import substitution. So it is undergoing trials at various places, but it looks like this is going to be a it's going to be a hit, provided we are able to maintain its cost again. So these are the two areas very significantly where Witmans Industries is working diligently. One area of success which Witmans has already achieved though it is not fully commercial, again because of cost reasons, and that is the biodegradable rubber process oils. We all know, you must be all knowing that rubber process oils are used by the rubber industry, primarily by the tire manufacturers. And it is a product which is used in every tire industry for making any type of tire. And for similarly for non-tire industry also for any type of non-tire product. Because it's a mixing agent of various components which finally goes for making the tires or the rubber products. So there, Witmans is the only company, or rather the first company in India to have commercially manufactured rubber process oil, which is fully capable of replacing the entire aromatic rubber process oil, which has been proved to be carcinogenic. And actually, its import is already banned. So whatever is made in India by 2-3 refineries, one of them is CPCL, that is Chennai Petrochemicals, the other one is HPCL's Mumbai refinery, where this type of oil is manufactured, only these 2 refineries. And if I can estimate its consumption today in India, it's around 125,000 tons per annum. So this is the potential which can be straight away, replaced by a biodegradable rubber process oil. In fact, Witmans and IIT Kharagpur, which is actually a pioneer in rubber processing studies, and it has a rubber technical institute also, which gives diplomas only for rubber technology. So our biodegradable rubber process oils were tested, and the rubber formulations which they made of different combinations with our different biodegradable rubber process oils. So some of the rubber properties shown improvement as compared to the conventional aromatic oil or the other type of oils. So it stays there. There are advantages and disadvantages everywhere. But unless the large scale use is done I'm talking of the rubber process oils, we will not be able to actually know where we are or where is the tire company or where is the non-tire company in the objective of sustainability. Because they also have their own sustainability goals, like we have. So I'm seeing the day when perhaps maybe by a obligation or by a rule or whatever, there's some portion of that aromatic process oil, if it can be substituted with a synthetic or a biodegradable rubber process oil, either from Witmans or anywhere else, that is immaterial. Since we are there already, so that's why I'm telling. But it's not that tomorrow somebody else also can make it. It's not an issue. But then it is going to help the industry as such and the country ultimately to meet its sustainability goals which have been promised. So these are some areas where Witmans is working and is already worked in fact, but it's waiting for the things to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Bose.